Welcome to episode 30 of the Mystery School podcast. Hope your week has been well. Hope your holiday was well. You enjoyed lovely booms and you were around family. You know, it's very important, regardless of anything else, to be around your family and just enjoy the holiday. And even though that we're in a very, 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 very shitty time in our nation's history, we can still be somewhat thankful that we live in a decent place. I mean, we're not Saudi Arabia where, they'll chop your head off for literally anything, or, France right now, or India. So that's literally underwater. So, all things considering, we're okay. We've had chemical attacks, which is always lovely. But, we just keep on keeping on and keep trying to spread the message. So, going through. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about this week is how the hell did a bag of cocaine end up in the White House with no official explanation? And is this Hunter Biden's stash? I mean, it was found the weekend that he was staying there. There is no one else that is dumb enough to just leave it for Homeland's or Secret Service to find it. And it's just comical that it's a bag of cocaine. I'm surprised it wasn't crack, because then that would quite literally just be like, come on. You can't get any more obvious at that point. I mean, at least with cocaine, you can say, well, it could be Biden's, could be just, some employees. But I would bet a lot of money that it's Hunter's.
Well, here's the thing, obviously, I think Hunter is one of the few people that could have gone past security at the White House. So, he could have brought it, and, maybe there was other people using it, not just him. So you got to take that into account. And not to mention now, if this was the Trump administration, people would be calling for arrests and investigations and all this internal shit, and it just highlights the two-tier justice system even more. But another question is this a distraction? And if so, from what?
I think it has to do a lot with the interview with Ray the past few days in the council, because they're talking about the difference between the Secret Service taking control of the situation instead of the FBI. So it was dealing with actually who's in control. I think it was a distraction, but it was also an eye-opener for people, because Ray couldn't get his information straight.
Interesting. So, it's very interesting that we're constantly hearing more bullshit about this administration, and I don't know whether to be excited as more bullshit keeps coming out and proves, what we have been saying for the last, 5 years at this point. That, there's a problem. And I just read today that I think it's Homeland Security. Yeah. I think the Homeland Security website completely took off child trafficking from their top priority initiatives. So that's good to know that this administration is even focusing on that. Not. So that's something to really think about and ponder on. Has the wartime situation in Ukraine improved or diminished since the introduction of foreign aid?
Yeah, no. I mean, define improved.
Define improved. Well, I would say improved in the manner of finding a resolution.
Yeah, no. Um,
No.
They
no,
lost
not at
their
all.
when Putin was going to try to negotiate to stop the fighting.
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on for a really long time, even before, uh, it hit the mainstream media and everyone started flying, Ukrainian flags on their house. Like, Jesus Christ, you probably see 3 times as more Ukrainian flags than American flags, at least here in the liberal areas where I live. It's just ridiculous. Like, you guys are more proud of a foreign country that you have no association. You never even heard of Ukraine before this, and now all of a sudden you would probably enlist if there was a draft for it to go fight for Ukraine. Um, it's just the amount of the psychological operation, the psyops is strong with this one. And we can go on all day. We could do a whole video on Ukraine as to why that is and what's going on there with,
Do three.
biolabs, human trafficking, organ harvesting, money laundering,
We could
the
do
whole 9 yards,
videos.
everything in between with Russia. It's you have this reoccurring theme with the deep state. When there's one thing, you know, uh, it's not, sorry, let me rephrase that. It's not often one thing, it's a whole bunch of things. They like to hit multiple birds with one stone. It's like the Middle East, the politics and the convoluted nature of those wars were beyond measure. It's the same thing here with Ukraine. There's so many behind the scenes stuff and history and the politics and how it came to happen, communism and how you have Nazi battalions in Ukraine. It's like I said, we could do a whole video. But one thing that was, I want to say, kind of recent, kind of in the news lately. It's not really new right now. You guys have probably already heard about it. But it was that mercenary group that quote unquote defected from the Russian army. You remember the name of that? I forget what it was.
I do
Varner.
not.
What's that, Hope?
It was Varner, only it looks like
Yeah,
Wagner.
the Wagner or Wagner group. Yeah. So the news came out, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're staging a coup d'état. They've occupied a city or multiple cities and stuff." And they made it seem like Putin was going to be overthrown the next day. Like, it was this huge thing, and they're like, "We're winning the war in Ukraine. The troops are defecting from Russia. Blah blah blah." And I didn't even have to do any research, and I knew that was all BS. All right, I told my friend, listen, they're gonna stop talking about this as soon as it's inconvenient. And have you heard about it in the news again? No,
Nope.
you haven't, because it is super inconvenient right now. An important part that they left out, in the what the Wagner Group is that it's a private military contracting group, and the majority of these guys are actually criminals that have been sent onto the front lines, um, from Russia, kind of like doing high stake missions and stuff. But the West knew about this. The Western NATO or America or whoever, you could point fingers, but the West was like, hey, let's take advantage of this situation. These guys are very easily manipulated, and so they do what they have done for decades now in CIA clandestine operations and in the Middle East is they did their psychological operations. They fed them intel. They fed the Wagner Group intel, and then they kind of manipulated the leaders to fight back against the Russian army. And so it was annoying to the Russians, but it wasn't like a big deal. And I don't exactly know what happened to the Wagner Group because, quite honestly, it's not important. But they're not fighting or occupying any city anymore. I'll tell you that.
Xenox, there's another angle that they think that Putin and the head of the Wagner Group actually got together and this was a setup. It was
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
like,
yeah. So I heard about that. There's a theory that was great, Hope. That this was a psychological operation or kind of like a two-step operation or something. They used this opportunity or they created the whole thing, whatever you want to say it was. Basically, there's a theory they did it on purpose. And what it was is uh, actually something Trump does himself. What did Trump say? Scoop, he says, there's a day that I wish I'll have nothing, and then I know who will be there for me. What do you know what he says? What's
Um,
the quote?
and there's gonna that he just I don't remember the quote. It was in the 80s, but he was basically talking about he would really love to just lose absolutely everything so he could really see who cares about him and who is on his side.
Exactly. And so that's straight out of the Sun Tzu's Art of War, Book of War, um, that Putin and the Wagner Group leader kind of made this little play so they'd test the loyalty of the politicians and the generals and the leaders and you name it within Russia. And believe it or not, there were a fair amount of people that were quite weak-willed or could be labeled as traitors through their words and actions um, with the whole Wagner Group situation. So, yeah, Lord knows what would happen if something like that happened here. We've got a lot of snakes in the hole. But that's the point of the whole Q operation now, isn't it?
It reminds me of when Xi Jinping dragged that person out of, I don't know, that huge arena, politician arena. I don't know who that was, but yeah, he got dragged out. I think it's happening there too.
Yeah, that's been an ongoing process. Yeah, it's just been a very interesting situation down in Ukraine and down in Russia. What the media tells you about what's going on there is a complete and utter farce. And it's quite sad. Because innocent people are dying. And
Oh yeah, the poor Ukrainians, their citizens being displaced. I'm sure some of them are being used terribly. Some are going to just be sacrificed. Who knows? I feel sorry for them.
And there's also complete areas of Ukraine that are unaffected.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like they're not even in a war. So it's very interesting what we're dealing with. Some areas are completely destroyed. Some areas are just not even really worried or prepared, and they're just chilling, hanging out.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure if Putin wanted to, he could absolutely steamroll Ukraine right now. We're talking a major world power like that has a military on par with China and the U.S. So you could say, oh yeah, the Americans had a tough time fighting insurgents, in the caves with AK-47s. I mean, yeah, but that's not really looking at the situation too deeply. Um, Ukraine's a developed nation with infrastructure that comes with its own vulnerabilities, and it becomes more difficult in that manner when you try to avoid collateral damage. You don't want to kill all the civilian population. They're actually part of the reason they're doing this is the Z movement. The if you see that letter Z written on tanks or kind of in the news, on RT News, I haven't figured out what it means. But some people had said it means something like freedom or something like that, and it's connected to the human trafficking that's gone in around Ukraine. So they're rescuing a lot of women and children. So yeah, they definitely want to help the Ukrainian people, but you know, not to paint Russia like an angel, because I'm sure there could be a diplomatic solution, but you know, Putin's kind of been forced at this point. Kind of.
About the Z thing, there was another theory out there that, because I don't know, have you guys seen the JFK Jr. leaning over and he's got that tattoo with the sword down it? Have you guys seen
No.
that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Well, okay, yeah, like people said it was like down with Zion or something like that. Just, you know, I don't know. It was going around.
Huh. Zion.
Interesting. With the theatrical release of Sound of Freedom, what has been the response and how have cinemas intervened? So, first, before I go in, I know one person here hasn't seen it. I'm going to try and get her to see it. Junk, have you seen it?
No, they're not showing it out here in Chile internationally yet, but definitely going to check it out when I get back. Also, I sent you a compilation on your messages, a video compilation that you can show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very cool. Yeah, is this the... Yeah, it's the full thing. Okay. Thank you for this. And then, ooh. Okay, I will put these last. Xenox, have you seen The Sound of Freedom?
No, I have not. You want to enlighten us as to the shady stuff behind all of that after you brief us on the video?
Yeah. So, Andrew, you saw it. What did you think of it?
I've seen it.
Oh, good job, Hope. What did you think of it? Both of you.
I thought it was very well put together. They didn't go as in depth as I hoped they would, but I think to open the door for those who were asleep or are asleep, I think it was a good start.
Okay. Andrew, are you there?
I am.
What did you think of it?
It was a good movie. I liked that it was not a good movie. It was well put together. It's not anything really good in that movie, people being saved, but it was well put together. God, I lost my train of thought. But didn't know Jim. I don't know how to say his last name. Knew Spanish. That was really interesting.
Tim
But
Ballard.
I don't
Jim
know. It was just. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, the little girl was a very good actress. I hated that they put her in that kind of situation to deal with that for a movie. But it's just sad, and it's kind of sad that I didn't really ever see these things growing up, you know? Even when I went on trips to places, I didn't see it. It's kind of just worrying. But great movie. Loved that it was a true story, and I'm glad people are putting themselves out there to save these kids. That was a dangerous situation that they were all in.
So, one thing I want everybody to think about, ponder on, and have them sit with them, because it's very, very interesting what we're seeing. And then after that, I will play the video. So it was funded by a man named Carlos Slim. This man is a known cartel member and has worked with the Clinton Foundation on multiple occasions, including the Haiti incident. And he funded Sound of Freedom. It's a little interesting. Someone also tried to cross-reference Tim Ballard to another guy named Tim Ballard, who has not a striking resemblance, but has a somewhat comparable resemblance. The bone structure's pretty different, but they look relatively the same. They have the same name. And one is a pedophile, and the other is a Homeland Security agent. Do I question Tim Ballard's legitimacy? No, because he does post literally all of his operations on the railroad website. You can go and watch those hour-long real things that are not, I don't think they're censored other than people's voice or people's faces for legal reasons, but other than that, it's as raw as Live PD was and Cops was. Like, it's, if not more raw. Now, the response that we have seen by the media, which is the most puzzling thing about everything, if it was funded by a guy who's involved with all of these sick fucks, is complete another backlash. We have seen them completely take it by the neck, drag it into the mud, and then kick it while it was down. And you know, it's funny, it's still succeeding. It's still pushing through top records. It is crazy. I think I can, let's go to the website right now and get an actual number of people who have seen the website, or have seen the movie in theaters.
I think they made 15 million or 50 million on the first opening weekend.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, the counter is still going. They have made over 4.487 million tickets in ticket sales, which is like those people paying it forward. And it was through this video that Hope has seen, I have seen, my mom has seen, Andrew has seen, and now you guys get to see. It'll be a little choppy due to Telegram, but sound will be fully clear.
Are we going to watch the whole movie?
No, we're going to watch the end credits scene.
Something isn't right here. I recently made a video talking about the strange occurrences happening to viewers trying to watch Sound of Freedom. Well, it's gotten worse. Just check out these people's experiences.
Try going to see Sound of Freedom, and this happened. No one left until they played the movie. They tried to give us free tickets if we left.
There's no one in here. And then, except that they were sold out. That's ridiculous.
Our alarm goes off and people still watch the movie. They can't stop the truth.
Have you heard anything about the other movie theaters? AC not working?
Like other houses?
No, like around the whole country, different theaters. In this movie only, the AC doesn't work. It's like super sketchy.
Really?
Yeah, you should look online. It's like, it's insane.
I know it's been very popular, so the more people you have in that theater, the more
Yeah, we can go to work. You'll
Yeah, I
have a
know,
whole
there's some
life. It's
here.
never happened.
Yeah, well, use those for you guys. Yeah, it's all.
Thank you.
So yeah, straight pure sabotage throughout the movie showing, which is scary, hilarious, and disturbing all at the same time. Because it just goes to show you how they will stop at no ends to make it so people can't see a movie like this. But again, it was funded by a guy who was involved in it. I don't understand. It's such a mind fuck for me.
I think I understand. Controlled opposition. Now he doesn't have to control the entirety of the movie. In fact, it's actually better if he doesn't. It's actually better if he controls 1 to 10% of what they do through his funding. The purpose is because, you could hit on points of human trafficking, but there are certain key points, certain roads, certain doors that you absolutely cannot go down. And that is where he would be passively leading them away from to not go towards, to make sure that they don't hit things on, such as the Clintons, Jeffrey Epstein's island, or anything else we don't know about. Underground trafficking or some whatever. There's going to be points that he was put in there to make damn sure doesn't get in that movie. And what better way to do that than be the biggest supporter and support everything else and the cause itself? If I wanted to, it's like this, it's like if you wanted to sell drugs, what better way to sell drugs than be, like in the DEA? There are agents and police officers throughout history that have sold drugs. There was a actually gun task force in Baltimore just recently in the past 5-10 years that pushed massive amounts of money of drugs, guns, and all that stuff through gangs while being on an elite task force with the Baltimore City Police Department. So it is quite a large IQ move play for them to do that. And that's precisely why you have people such as that in there. You have people who were involved directly in human trafficking of people so that they know that they don't expose the tactics and a lot of the things that they do. So you had the foot soldier, and then you had the henchman from the desk with the 20,000 foot eye view.
Right.
So they had that on lockdown. Not to say it's not a good movie on exposing human trafficking, but you're not going to get anything that would be groundbreaking or equivalent to what agencies might have as secret information, classified information on human trafficking.
However, just 5 years ago, this movie would be shocking to most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and even in the movie, Jim, or
you're a roboting, Andrew.
Tomato
Yeah,
works
you are roboting
with someone who had sex with the 14-year-old and changed his life. Oh.
There you go.
Can
Wow,
you hear me
what?
Better?
Yeah, what
Okay.
happened? Can you repeat what you were saying
my
there?
house.
Could you?
Yeah, I will. You guys were talking about the person who paid for the movie. In the movie, Jim Caviezel or whatever actually worked with a person who was ex-cartel, who his life changed when he noticed he thought he was having sex with a 25-year-old, but he had sex with a 14-year-old who's been doing it since she was 6. And then, the fat guy in the movie starts working and helping solve the situation. And the whole point was that God's children are not for sale. And, if you're having sex with this prostitute or anything, they might be 30, 40, 50, 60, but they probably been doing this since they were very, very young and got dragged into it. So, and the CIA, some people are good, some people are bad, and they have to witness some terrible shit. Or just I don't know, get blackmailed like that.
You're going robot-y again.
Me a long time ago about
Yeah, I can't understand you. You're a robot.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. It was a long time of where this person had to walk out of the hotel because the baby thing.
Sorry, but I can't understand you. I'm so sorry.
The baby hotel thing where that guy walked out.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that story that made you sick?
Yep. Yep, I remember. Maybe that was him. Who knows? It's something I've been pondering on.
Oh, let me get back to you. I'm going to change my... I switched back. Can you hear me a lot more? The plot of the movie was working with pedophiles.
Holy crap. You were talking
Never
so
mind.
fast the internet was catching up.
Never mind.
Huh? I mean, I can hear you clearly now.
Yeah, Andrew, that was a lot better.
I can't talk. Me.
Fair enough. If you can't talk, you can't talk. All right, Xenox, this is your next topic, bud, because I don't know anything about this. I've been in the dark.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is just my personal projection on marijuana legalization within the U.S. You can go all day about the different states that have legalized it. Maryland just legalized it this month. However, the big question comes to the federal government, and that involves, stuff like the U.S. military and service members using it, doctors being able to write actual prescriptions or recommendations for people with certain illnesses, instead of kind of it just being like a suggestion, and then you go get a medical card. There's really not a lot of actual, I guess, medical papers written. I'm sure there is medical research on it, but it's like there's no real established system. And so legalizing it federally would solve a lot of things, a lot of issues. It would help with interstate commerce. It would destroy the black market. People would be able to, actually use banks, because right now they can't use banks for any kind of marijuana dispensary. So it's just loads of cash. And that actually makes the black market bigger and stronger, because then there's a lot of underground sales from legitimate companies or copycats. And then they also get robbed, and there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into federal. Why, you could say, oh, even if all 50 states legalized it, it would still kind of be an issue with those overhead kinds of things. The federal legalization would help. But why I wanted to bring this up is because recently there is a bill that was introduced into Congress that would essentially legalize medical use for military members, and not necessarily by changing the the UCMJ, which is the Military Code of Law. but it would essentially make it so the military would not test for marijuana on its service members. So that would do that. And then if you rewind, a couple months, 4 or 6 months or whatever, there are a couple bills that have been introduced into Congress on federal legalization of marijuana. Some better than others. I think one or two are just trying to reschedule it, but what you really want is the most lax kind of bill that would just allow cultivation and personal sale and just allow free, states' rights and interstate commerce. Just legalize it, plain and simple, and allow the states to do what they want with it. Completely descheduling it. The federal government doesn't need to be involved on that level. That would be the best outcome. And I have two theories why it hasn't been legalized yet, other than the fact that we know it is a healing plant medicine and would affect big pharma and the criminal justice system in untold amounts of ways. But one of the reasons, I think, would be that the Democrats or the deep state are trying to save this as a playing card. They want to use it for something for the election, right? To bribe the people. If they wanted to win this next election and they're desperate, right? Would that not be, especially with a Democrat-controlled Congress, would that not be a great way to win the people's favor? So towards the end of the election cycle, while people's conscience is fresh, they would try to legalize it most likely. So I'd say by 2025 is the strongest likelihood of it being legalized. And that would be a playing card that they might use, which could be done very well and beneficial for the people. Who knows how it would affect the election cycle. If they didn't legalize it, I think that would be stupid on their part, because then they'd lose votes, and it would just be retarded, in my opinion. But like I said, not legalizing it does strengthen black market sales, which actually the mayor of DC, I'm pretty sure, has direct connections to a lot of black, what do you call it? Not gangs, but like, criminal organization syndicates, and a lot of these criminal organizations make a lot of money off of underground marijuana sales still. They push it all over the country, even in legalized states, because in the majority of the states that have legalized it, their medical and recreational cannabis systems have almost failed because of a number of reasons. One might be because it's virtually impossible for someone to get a dispensary, right? So let's say the state's like, okay, we're going to open 50 dispensaries. You're going to have so many people put in lottery tickets to open a dispensary, and let's say one lottery ticket costs like $40,000, right? Well, now the only people that have like a chance of winning are people that have millions and millions of dollars and just throw all their money in there, right? And so that's how they kind of control it. And then the level of regulation and taxes actually go through the roof so high that profit margins on dispensaries are very, very low, and a lot of them actually only exist just because they become subsidized by the government. And so I'd say the system has failed in many states, and that's what also props up the black market of marijuana sales. In order for it to be successful, there really should be more of a free market kind of thing. Like people here in the States can brew their own beer. They could sell their craft beer at a bar or in bottles, and you don't need any fancy government. I mean, you might need an alcohol license, but beyond that, you don't need any kind of fancy government certification or tickets to conduct your sales or business. Let's see. I'd say if the Democrats didn't legalize it, or Congress or whoever didn't legalize it by the end of this election cycle, I really don't know what would happen. It's anyone's guess at that point, you know. I don't know Trump's stance on marijuana, beyond the fact that he thinks it should be the state's problem. Sounds like he would be up for legalization, but he now here's the thing. You could actually say that yeah, he didn't do anything for it this in his last presidency, but that would be actually unwise. What he did is he created the Farm Bill, and that allowed industrial hemp to be made. It allowed every form of THC except for Delta 9, which people don't understand is that there are dozens of forms of THC that occur naturally or that can be derived and created in larger amounts through a process where they convert CBD and CBG into other naturally occurring cannabinoids that do get you high. For the example, everyone has heard of Delta 8, but not everyone has heard of THCP, HHC, THCA, and THCA is actually a hot one because THCA is the precursor to Delta 9. So anywhere you go, if you find the real THCA, not every brand is, you know, on par because it's kind of a system that's not highly regulated. But if you get real THCA, that's the same thing as smoking Delta 9 because all you do is you heat it up and then it converts into Delta 9. So if you find THCA, that's the same thing as smoking medical cannabis. If you get a good product. A lot of people don't know this. The weed has basically been legalized that way, but only you know, there's only so many companies that actually have good products and actually take advantage of this and sell it, because it does require a lot of knowledge of chemistry and smarts and of the legal system. What I want to see is use of more of an industrial hemp kind of system for products like insulation and stuff like that, which I don't know why we haven't seen a big boom in industrial hemp. I'd probably I wonder if that has something to do with any regulations that are out there, or if it's just, you know, something that needs to be
Funded.
taken advantage of more. You know, you can make plastics out of hemp that's biodegradable.
Taken advantage and funded for. We're able to do it. It's just there's no funding towards it.
Yeah, probably.
Alrighty, so we're gonna watch some videos here. We'll watch the one that we have seen before. This one's a classic. Oh, I just did. There you go. Should be able to have sound now. So what you just witnessed there was the 3D rendition made in 2012 of the coming of the Antichrist and what they wish to bring upon the world while the sun goes boom. And it's very fascinating because it's exactly what they're doing to us right now. And we have picked apart each and every frame, and we have 2 other videos to go through. So I'm going to just get us running through all of them because this one and the other one get pretty long. So
this one is actually, this is a re-upload. In the description of this video, you actually find the original on the original channel. It's not actually called I Pet Goat 1. It's called In Shadow.
Interesting.
I just discovered that like 20 minutes ago. So I didn't look in the description of the original video, but yeah, so it says it in the video though, the name.
Good to know. Holy shit. There was a lot packed into that. Holy crap. Hi, yay, yay.
To dissect that one frame by frame, it would take hours.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me better?
Yes.
Sweet. Yeah, that was a lot. Good God.
And we have one left. Not quite as long. Probably just as jam-packed. This one's got itself some awards. Let's see how this one is, because I haven't seen this one. Oh my.
This one was my favorite because it has one kind of, at least to me, symbolically clear story throughout it that's pretty easy to follow.
No, I can understand completely. Just Jesus, holy crap, that was a mind fuck.
Something interesting about that one is, did you notice who was at the table?
Different bankers.
Not just that. You had a judge, you had a clergyman, you had two politicians, one in a red tie, one in a blue tie. And then you had an intellectual. And if you notice that it was the dude that is perceived to be like the intellectual one, the one in the green suit, or like had the green undercoat or whatever, he was the only one that would feed the cats. He was the one that brought out the distraction, the robotic little mouse that they had there.
Oh.
And something also to note is that the only human in the story is the man that is operating the food machine, the machine, I guess. And he is the one responsible for killing the tiger, taking its kittens, and then those kittens are what bring about the next generation of bankers and clergymen and judges and politicians and businessmen. And it all takes place at a hotel, a place where you don't live permanently. It's always like, it's a place of transit that looms over a crumbling cliff on a stormy night. I love that one.
Oh, the metaphors.
And
I noticed that all the black suits had red rings, and then the one with the clergy hat was the only one with the gold one.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot that you could go into with that one. I mean, you can do that with all of them, but just for me personally, that one was the easiest to follow. Though I must say, animation-wise, the In Shadow, that one had to be my favorite. This is the art, the 2D art style. But I Pet Goat, I mean, that one's a classic, with that beautiful 3D style. So they're all very different from each other, but I feel like at the end of the day, like I Pet Goat 2, that shows the coming of the Antichrist. In the Shadows shows how society gets to that point and what society has become, how degenerated it becomes from start to end. And then the Dinner for Few is shows a more in-depth look at the powers that be that run the whole show.
Junk, what did you think of the videos?
Gee willikers. Yeah, definitely artsy. I think that, what's fascinating is like I don't even think about the video. I think about the artists who made the video and what their initial like storyboarding was. It's like, what was their idea of creating it? And when you start to like look back to that frame of reference, you're like, oh, okay, so like they want their kind of artistic mind to create a narrative around the specific intention that was the initial disclosure. Fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I think it's beautiful that you can do this and have 0 words and still like create such a thought-provoking thing, because that's like free will at play. You can allow somebody to fully dive into their own consciousness and pick this apart. But art is kind of our medium. It's a way around the mainstream that you can kind of get like truth across. You ever thought about like political political cartoons and stuff, like back in the 50s and whatnot, or even before that. It's like somehow like this medium of art is able to bypass censorship to some degree because it's so like what is it called, nuance or something like that. But it's just fascinating to kind of like take it in, and everybody has their own interpretation. I just think that honestly, like even with the last one, the symbolism behind them being like ensnared, even beyond their own like conscious awareness, is hilarious. Because if you think about some of these satanic pedophiles, especially with all the speaking that we've been doing in this conversation, they're so screwed and they don't even know it. And it's hilarious almost to a degree that they have no idea what's going on, even though they think they're in full control. But spiritually, they're like at a dead end, and like they're just running around in this, just never-ending cycle of monetary enslavement and power struggle. And I don't know. I mean, you can interpret these videos in a million different ways. I just tried to look at the artists behind them and what level of consciousness they were embodying, and awareness around these subjects in general.
It's a very good way to look at it. I appreciate your take on that, Junk. Thank you for sharing. Xenox, how about you?
I think you guys hit. I don't think I can do any justice on it.
Fair enough. All right. Now, grounding our set. Hope, do you have any comment on those? Or are you just as mind blown as everyone else?
Well, being a boomer, I'm probably not because I'm not a gamer and I'm not into the symbolism like you guys. I could pick up on some of it, but I was probably focusing more on the symbolism rather than the story, so it's good to listen to you guys.
Okay. Was it easier to follow the last one than it was the other ones? Yeah, fair enough. All right. Is RFK Jr. almost said JFK Jr. God, I wish. Is RFK Jr. a reliable candidate for the presidential election, or is it possible that he is a double agent? So, this one I go back and forth with because, for one, he is a Kennedy, so there is a bloodline there, a fundamental bloodline. He is supposedly the last living Kennedy that could take the seat of office. However, that also puts him at a disadvantage because he could be compromised. He could be bought. He could be paid for in his own special way. And, he just because he's making outlandish promises doesn't mean he'll actually, if he gets elected, actually do something about them. We've had so many presidents actually talk about so many promises but never actually did them. Except, DJT, but, he didn't get to do everything that he wanted to do. He only got to do about half.
Probably not even.
Yeah, probably not even.
See, I lived this to the point where even if
you sound far away, Hope.
Junior, I'm sorry?
You sound far away.
I'm thinking that even on the line...
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
If I can get my dogs to quit barking. There's a tradition between John and Bobby, and now we have whether or not John Jr.'s alive, but we know Bobby Jr. is alive. I think there's a tradition there that part of it's the old Democrat Party, but part of it's the honor. So I think he's a true candidate. I think he's reliable. There's several things I don't agree with, but I can tell you, definitely better than what we've got. I find him trustworthy. I do.
Yeah, and I want to be clear for the recording here. Just because he's got a speech impediment does not mean he is not a good candidate. He is a fantastic person to be in office. It's just, do we know if he's bought and paid for? We don't. It's still up in the air. I mean, he can say whatever he wants. However, he is very passionate about what he says, and I'll give him that. And he is campaigning up the wazoo. He is not slowing down. He is coming in as hard as a train, and that's what I like to see. We need real competition against Donald Trump, personally. It's what he needs. It's what everybody needs to see. And I am shooting and rooting for a debate between RFK Jr. and Donald J. Trump, because that will be the most enlightening conversation America has ever had in, I'd say, 40 years.
Yeah, I wanted to make a point. Well, 2 points. One small one. Even if let's say he wins the Democrat majority support, would they even nominate him? As we saw what happened to Bernie Sanders. They totally just handed that to Clinton. Secondly,
Biden?
assuming he got some sort of a nomination or whatever, him being a great candidate, I actually think I love the way he talks. I think he's more direct than Trump on some things. It would be very hard for a choice for me personally. But the number one factor that has me concerned is his cabinet, the people behind him, his administration. Trump has done a lot of work cleaning house, a lot of work figuring out who he can and can't trust. Who's going to be behind the Kennedy party, the Kennedy administration? How do we know he can trust those people? How do we know they're going to get the job done? There's a lot of questions we don't know because, yeah, RFK Jr. is a fantastic candidate, but if he gets in, what about the people that are going to be working with him? We're not. That's kind of like a unknown at this point.
I think he knows where all the graves are buried. I don't think he's wasted his time all these years to not keep track on all of this.
Good point. So, it's your belief. I mean, that's logical. That makes sense. That he spent years, if not decades, preparing for this moment. So he is more than ready, and he has more than the backers that he needs. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's got his cards in a row. I do. And if you believe, I don't know if some of you saw that and I don't remember the video exactly, but Bobby Jr. and someone else was talking, and the person that must have been kind of like the speaker narrating what was going on, she said, if JFK Jr. is alive, could you itch your nose? And he itched his nose.
Who did this?
I can't remember. This has been about 3 years ago, give or take. And I don't know if he and someone else was talking about vaccine, and there was a moderator or someone that was interviewing both of them. And if he had a secret earphone to each one of them where they were asking questions or trying to ponder them, but somebody, The person that was moderating what the two guys were talking about said, if JFK Jr. is alive, could you itch your nose? And he itched his nose in the video. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, put that in the Mystery School chat. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it was, and that's been probably 3 years ago.
I mean, if JFK Jr. is alive, then this is really an interesting movie we're watching.
Yeah, because they know even how deep these bodies are buried.
I don't trust him.
That was blunt. Goodness.
I mean, he is listed in Epstein's Black Book, has been a Hillary supporter for years, supported Obama, pro-climate change, anti-gun. I mean, yeah, sure, he spits facts about vaccines, but do you really think he would if it wasn't for the fact that he is very visibly, or I guess audibly, injured by one? No. He's a
And he's
slightly
denying
less...
that, by the way. They completely scrubbed that. He's now talking about it getting from a disease.
Ah, of course.
You guys, I just want to know, am I the only one that like gets like visibly anxious when I hear him talk? Like for me, it's like it just gives me like the ick or something. Like when I hear him like try to talk, I'm like, I can't listen to this guy. I feel like I need to take like a deep breath. It's so hard for me to hear him talk. So like I usually put him on mute and see if there's captions because my God, I don't know if I'm the only one dealing with that.
No,
I do the exact same thing.
It's almost like listening to an accent, where it's hard for you to decipher. I can make it out because I'm used to listening to people that have had strokes or that also have had throat cancer, and they talk with it, they're broken. So I have no problems listening to him. I listen to the message, not to the sound.
I mean, I perfectly understand the words that are coming out of his mouth. I just can't physically bear to hear his voice. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me. That's why, like I do what Junk does. I mute whatever video he's in and turn on the captions if they have them. Because, I mean, he does say some okay things. Yeah, the name Kennedy doesn't do anything for me. It's what he has done in his political career, and I don't trust a thing of it.
Hold on, guys. I've got a real meta conspiracy for you right now. Ready? What if he is the premium test dummy for Neuralink?
We haven't seen his scalp.
I mean, if he starts talking normal all of a sudden...
I feel like they would go for people first who have more disabling disabilities than just a speech impediment.
But he did say, Elon did say it's supposed to help with color blindness, motor movement, and speech.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying I figured they would, well, I guess Stephen Hawking is dead. They couldn't do Stephen Hawking, but I figured it would be more along, like they would present it with physical disabilities first. So I feel like that's the most heartwarming.
Yeah. Also neurological, though, too.
I
You're
mean,
literally getting the
I'm
thing
torn
plugged
with
into
the
your
whole
brain.
Neuralink thing. I think there's a healthy skepticism about it, but I don't want to paint implants as a negative connotation because there are implants that help people every day, like cochlear implants, eye implants that allow people to see, and the hearing implants. So I think there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Obviously, keeping them closed circuit and not connected to the internet would be a good way to do it.
I just sent that link.
What's that?
Oh, wonderful.
I just sent the link. I found it.
Ah.
Completing the study.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ. My bad. Let me...
Oh, while we're waiting for that, side note, has anyone heard about Joe Biden's wind farm that he's trying to put on the East Coast?
Oh, what?
He's trying to put a wind farm.
The only
East
thing
Coast.
I heard about this wind farm came from you, so do tell.
Yeah, so they're trying to put a massive amount of windmills out on the East Coast that would destroy a lot of the environment, the birds and the fish, and not to mention wreak havoc on the fishermen and their ability to fish. So that would affect the food supply, the economy, you name it, a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, and they can park all the old broken blades in North Dakota, like with the rest of them. They're not recyclable.
All right, here we go.
What are they, carbon fiber or something?
I don't know what the compound is. All I know is they're not recyclable.
Is it supposed to be muted?
Is it muted?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining.
Let me just redo it. There you go.
Killed so that they could tell families, better news.
Still muted?
And that was the beginning.
Well, this is extraordinary on so many levels. The Deitch memo. And this memo is available on the website. You watch the film, you can go and get all of the documents that are not in the public domain. And the Deitch memo is one of those documents. It was a discovery document that was given to me by Mike Hugo, one of the original lawyers in vaccine injury litigation, who could not get these cases to court because they would settle before they got to a jury. This is extraordinary on so many levels. The Deitch memo. And this memo, all of the documents that are not in the public domain. And the Deitch memo.
Scoop, the audio went quiet.
The discovery document.
I mean, that's fine. By Mike Hugo, one of the wow.
Lawyers in vaccine injury litigation who could not, they would settle before they got to a jury. And they had to do that because they could not have memos like the Deitch memo being paraded in a court of law.
Ah, I hate Facebook. Go away. That's crazy. I don't know if anybody saw that, but...
I've been in enough Instagram lives to know that the comments don't appear on screen quick enough for that to happen. That comment was there, and then immediately he did it. There's about a 10-second delay.
Well, there was two comments. She made two.
Oh, there were two?
Mm-hmm.
I only saw one. Okay.
Yeah.
Then he probably saw the first then. Okay.
Yeah, he probably saw the first one. Here, I'll show you. See, here's the first one.
Extraordinary on so many levels. The Deitch memo. And this memo, all of the documents that are
and then they do it again. See how it's scrolled up a bit?
Discovery document that was given to me by Mike Hugo, one of the original.
So he did it. He saw the first one and then did it.
That makes more sense. Okay. I was because when I first saw it, I didn't see the first one, so I was like, that's way too fast.
But
I started recording too, so
what did the comment say? Was that the nose scratching you were talking about, Hope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was basically RFK Jr. confirming that subtly that JFK Jr. is supposedly alive. Which would be absolutely huge, and he is just playing his part, which is even more huge.
And is he cute?
RFK Jr. or JFK?
JFK.
Well, I mean, I'd say he's part of, but he's not the EQ. The EQ we know is a sect of the military, specifically known as the President's Army, which was probably has members of said President's Army of generations of children who were part of Kennedy's President's Army.
It may be a part of AI as well.
That too. Alrighty. So, the last important current event topic, besides the next important one, but that's, later. Andrea, Xenox, you guys can go into this one. I have it. To me, France is on fire all the time.
That's what I said the first time it happened, when I first saw it too. But I mean, if you're not familiar with the situation, there was an Algerian teenager with a rap sheet longer than a CVS receipt that got shot at pretty much point blank range by a French police officer for pulling off from he was pulled over and he drove away, and so they shot him. And that started a whole bunch of riots all across France, but not just France, parts of Belgium, and I think Spain, maybe Switzerland. I think Germany as well. But yeah, there was simultaneous riots that erupted all at the same time, pretty much all overnight in Europe. For the most part, it seems as though that the French police have gotten a lot of it under control. But I don't know. People have been claiming that's the next French Civil War, but yeah, I don't see I haven't seen any more developments that make it seem like it's going to be anything more than just another incident of France being set on fire.
I wanted to get into it because it's a perfect highlight for the failed immigration policy of the EU and of the West that import large and mass amounts of migrants, undocumented more or less, and just completely it causes chaos in society. There's no cultural assimilation. It ruins the economy. If you're in a place like Sweden, was it Switzerland or Sweden? I forget. But there's a guy called let me look him up. He's on YouTube. We can reference him. Angry Man is his name. And he's actually a foreigner that is, Sweden. That is in Sweden now. And they are a great case study of failed immigration policy. Now they have literal, I guess, migrants that are running their government pretty much. And they're being put into office just because they're not white and they need more representation, blah, blah, blah. And what I'm getting at is the migrants are a great way for the deep state, a great tool for them to incorporate their control and bidding, and a great way to destabilize the economy as well.
I mean, it's the powers that be that want to raise racial consciousness throughout the world, and what better way to raise racial consciousness than to import the finest doctors and engineers and lawyers of the third world into, our Western first world countries. and ensue chaos through that. I mean, the France situation in particular is interesting because France didn't just try to colonize Algeria. They tried for decades and inevitably gave up and failed, like the French do. Um, they tried to annex Algeria because, a North African nation definitely shares much rich historical connection to France. And it led to a whole bunch of there was I wouldn't want to say genocide levels of executions, but there were mass casualty events all throughout Algeria from the French forces for decades, and just straight up war crimes that were committed, frankly. And so, I mean, it's pretty fucking understandable why Algeria would have a stick up its ass over France, because I mean, who wouldn't? But you don't allow their people to come into your country en masse because they don't like your country. They don't want good things for your country. They want to steal your money and deal drugs and rape women and just cause chaos. And it's a sad state of affairs to watch the old world fall in such a way. I mean, America isn't doing much better. We have our own porous southern border that might as well be an EU border-free zone at this point. But it's definitely more, I feel like, poignant to see it happen to Europe, because, I mean, America wouldn't be here without Europe, and so to see the old world, to see all of these thousands of years of culture to start to be destroyed. I mean, France especially, there's a new mosque that pops up every 14 days. Churches are being converted into mosques left and right. They're being burned down at some points of the year on a weekly basis. Other times it's more maybe on a couple times a month kind of deal, but still, these ancient churches that are older than the United States are being burned frequently. And of course, you only ever heard about Notre Dame, but I mean, other not so famous churches are being burned all over the country. And it's definitely interesting to see what's going to come out of it as the years go on, as more and more people get sick of it. I mean, you're seeing they're claiming that the far right is rising in Europe. I mean, if you're more far left than Karl Marx, it sure might seem that just having basic levels of patriotism would be far right, but that's the paradigm that Europe has been living in for years. But there's grounds being made in Germany, in Sweden, in I think Finland, and a couple of the Netherlands. Yeah, there's a couple countries that their quote unquote far right parties are starting to gain more popularity, so the people are going to fight back. But it's it's going to take time, or it's either going to take time, or there's just going to be more and more riots until they just can't be handled anymore, which is, who knows. The 2020s are getting hotter with every year.
I couldn't agree more. It's funny you say that, because that is a beautiful, beautiful transition to the next topic. Talk about getting hot, because this past week, buddy, look at that sun activity there. Buddy, talk about getting hot. We got 2 solar flares. 2 of them. Look at that. Completely missed Earth, but 2. I want to hear flat shit tonight, by the way. No flat shit from you guys. I don't want to hear it.
Wait, how many flares? I didn't quite get the number.
2. We got a 193, a 219, and holy crap. Holy crap. That's a big one. Where's my special scanner? I always forget where to click. Is it this one? No, it is not this one. I always forget to click. My apologies. It is this one. Yes. Can we see it? Oh, there's that one. There's that one, a more close up. See, it was a quick burst. You had the bit. Oh wow, there was 3 of them. So you had one here. Then you had one here. Okay. So you had one there. Yep. And then there. And then another one over here. What the fuck? Oh my god. The sun is popping off.
Yeah, that circle is going crazy.
And I'll play our good old-fashioned movie here that we usually do. The nice show off the sun. Again, don't want to hear any of that flat crap. I do not consent. Yeah, look at her go. And the solar waves got so intense that it even shook the sensors. That's crazy. Just take that in for a moment there. Alrighty, guys. We got one more thing to discuss here.
Scuba, sent you some UFO captures.
Oh, okay. Oh my, you sent me a bunch. Good lordy. Alright, I gotta go like this then if I set it up like that. My apologies, everybody. Andrea, would you like to talk about the sun a little bit?
Ain't she so beautiful and flat?
That's not what I meant.
You kind of asked for that one.
I did not. Thank you very much. You four. You four. Like you've got my girlfriend into it. Like it's ridiculous, man. I can't escape it.
It's unfortunate that you won't see the truth for what it is. But,
I refuse. No, I do not consent. There is no flat
we'll wear
sun.
you down.
No. You can try your absolute best, guys, but it ain't nope. That's a big fat nope.
The psyop won't work.
Nope. Sorry, not gonna happen.
Well, I hope you know, Scuba, space is fake.
And gay.
And gay.
I'm appalled. After the many conversations we've had, I am appalled. Especially what we're going to be talking about tomorrow or next week. All right.
More fake alien demon spacecraft breaking through the firmament.
Oh my god, she went full
My Twitter feed has been
theorist.
flooded with flat earth shit. I want to shoot Elon. Take it away.
It's always the same shit though.
Oh, it's always like
at least it's not
throw
that
them a Bible and
Scientology
some crayons so they can chew on and just go leave me alone.
At least it's not the Scientology crap. But here we go.
I'll
We
take
got ourselves
Scientology over flat earth. I'm sorry.
Here we go. We got ourselves a nice fucking cigar-shaped looking craft literally from yesterday night or yesterday morning. Look at that fucker. He is nice. There's a cluster of them literally today at 10 in the morning. Look at that. I'm going to say those dots are scout ships. Probably inspecting the sun because of its activity, I would assume.
Or it's one big ass TR3B next gen.
Or
I
that
see a
too.
pyramid in the bottom 4 lights. I can't unsee the pyramid.
Well, it's hard to say because we often see a lot of the UFOs in the sky do weird geometric patterns and alignments, and then they do like dances, and then they shoot off. So I don't know. There's some sort of formation or like synchronicity that they do. I don't know if it's technological or cultural or who knows. It could be anything, or that could be one giant craft, but I don't know. Hard to say.
110%. Look at that one. That one looks like a dog bone.
I saw a baseball bat.
Huh? Yeah, I could see that. Or a chicken leg.
Rorschach test.
Pride Month.
A what?
Yeah. Someone's giant
I don't-
dildo floating through the space.
Told you, space is gay.
Oh my god. What is that? Johnson! What? That's just the never-ending fucking Austin Powers joke of the rocket.
Scuba, what would you, looking at the zoom in, like, what would you expect? Where's the front and where's the back?
The back is...
Or do you think it's just...
The back is definitely, fuck. I want to say, her, but it could be a mining ship, so this could be some type of drill, and the thrusters are kind of like here, and it's supposed to look like that, and the drill is bigger than the craft, so it can bore straight through an asteroid.
Oh, good point.
Wait. Space worms? We're talking about space worms
I
now?
was
No,
just
no,
gonna
no.
say, what if it's like a worm?
No,
and
I'm
it doesn't
talking about
actually
a
have
drill,
discernible top
a mining ship. Think of the mining ship as like a tube, but the drill has to be bigger than the actual ship, so the entirety of the ship can fit through the hole. Because if your drill is smaller than your ship, it's not going to fit through the hole. That makes sense?
So like moon in space. Got it.
Sure. And I don't know what the fuck that is. I would say that's one whole craft. Personally. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't even know what to say on that.
Unique that they're appearing as square as opposed to round.
Maybe.
Not all of them, some of them.
And then we got a video here showing them move. So this one stayed around for a little bit if it got into 2 frames.
Yeah, mind you, each frame is like 12 minutes lapsed. So whatever it was moved that far in 12 minutes.
So it was moving pretty slow.
Finally, a frame rate that Telegram can capture.
Yeah, right. So, yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool. Alrighty. So we have one more thing to talk about before we end the evening. And then I'm so happy to give this to you. This makes me happy. Junk, take it away.
Oh, sweet. There we are. Yeah, thanks, Scoop. This is something that's been long in the works. It's the official No Dice School debut in August. Again, it's going to be a month-by-month thing. So if you want to enroll in August sessions, you can do so. You're going to get access to the student database, which is going to give you all of the previous sessions in full detail, audio, video. And you're going to be actually, like, there's a lot of perks included. Lots of fun little things tucked away. And then you're going to be access to a 24/7 private student server, of which we're going to keep going. And we're going to be including like bonus content, exclusive stuff that we couldn't even like fit in the original one with the prelude of the 3 months. So this is exciting. This is something I'm really, really proud of. And I'm so excited to debut. It looks completely new, completely fresh, all new content, etc. So if you want to join in, that's the link right there. You can come check us out, but it's going to be month by month. So come hang out and become a student, become an initiate, and start to follow your path of self-mastery.
And then,
oh yeah, this is exciting. If you ever wanted your own personalized meditation, I've been creating music for about 12 years now, and I've fine-tuned the process of meditation sequence. So if you've ever listened to a meditation on YouTube or on SoundCloud or, from your favorite, whoever, this is your opportunity to have your own piece of music perfectly tailored to your vibration and energy. So this is super exciting because I use Dolby Atmos. I actually create everything tuned to 432 hertz. And you are in full control of choosing your adventure, from chord progression to bass style to ambience. You really have full control over creating an entire meditation that's all your own.
that's super cool. That's something super different and super cool that I haven't seen many people really try and take on before. So I wish you luck with that one. And
Thank you.
then this one.
Yeah, there she is. Well, Star Bloom turns 4. Happy birthday. In winter solstice. So we thought that this year it's going to be completely new and fresh. She is going to be transforming or evolving into a retreat. So far, it's been an international virtual festival, but now we have a space. We have an opportunity to host this in person. And so we would love to see everybody show up. And in the case that you can't, we are also offering a virtual pass, which is going to be extremely immersive and have lots of bonus content that you can't see anywhere else. But if you want to do so, we are currently offering early bird discounts and lots of things going on right now that you can check out on our page. You can check that link below, the quantumlight.us, which is my secondary. Or you can just check out the bit.ly Starbloom 2023 link right there, and you'll get all the information for that. But right now, the virtual pass is $100 off, and the regular booking for in-person gathering is a RSVP, which you can secure your spot. So if you guys are down to hang out and come see an amazing festival firsthand, this is the place to do it. We have so many surprises, so many special guests, and we're just teasing for the months to come. So go check it out, hear what it's about, and if you have any questions, reach out to me.
And that is the end of tonight's Mystery School. You guys have yourself a wonderful rest of your week. Have a wonderful night. We will see you next Wednesday. And as always, keep on seeking. Good night, everybody. See you soon.
Hey, Scuba.
Oh, yes.
The sun is flat.
Damn it, John. Oh, God. I was literally about to press the button, too.
Don't worry, I can edit it out. Don't worry.
Oh, you can't edit this out. This is one of those moments that must stay in.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.